Hi there. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do social media analysis. So to start off with, a lot of you will be using our Tractor. We've got a video on how to use Tractor. It looks like this, but it's a scraping tool in order to take data from different platforms, including Twitter. Okay. So once you scrape, you can upload the data set in the form of a CSV. Just upload it by going on New Data Set, drag and drop, or finding it in the file. So if we go to the data set here, this is one where we've scraped at Netflix or HBO or Prime Video or Disney Plus. Okay, so if what's really interesting here is Graphext is able to tell, because of the fact it comes from Tractor and because of the data that exists, it's able to tell that it's social media analysis. So it immediately goes to your social media. Okay, like just go straight there. So when you've got this, it's interesting to have a look at the different columns to make sure that like you can see the fact that it knows it's a category, it knows what's a URL, what's a date, what's text. It's well worth checking just to see that it has worked out correctly. But most of the time, I'd say it's 99% accurate. The main time we might have some mistakes is generally with dates on some data sets come up in text form, but this won't happen if it's come from Tractor. Okay, so you have different analysis that you can do within social media. You can read the topics, which is what they will be studying, but you can equally focus on finding important keywords and understanding a relationship. Community connections, which is understanding how members of a community are connected, and this way you can discover sub-communities and see who influencers are. Equally identify popular community members with key community members. And this sees like how much engagement goes on and everything along those lines. So equally very good for marketing and for finding out who your influencers are. Okay, you can see the fact there's more here as well. So what's interesting is if you can see this little light bulb, that means that the analysis recipe has already been worked out. Okay, so it means that you just need to click on it. So you can see that here for train and predict, it's not happened, and for shared images. You can't do shared images because it's not got the images. But for train and predict, it's not happened. So you'd have to put in like what type of analysis you'd want to do, a little bit further detail. But if you look here for topics, we can just click, click. Oh, I need to click next. Okay, so the analysis is already done and you can just execute it. Okay, so this is really easy when it comes to the fact that you've taken it all from social media and specifically from the graphics scraping tool Tractor. But what happens if you're choosing not to use Tractor? How easy is that? So if we go back to our data sets now, we can have a look at this one here is not taken from Tractor. So once again, we can see that you've got the little light bulb on topics and on keywords, but now you can see it's not picked up for community connections, key community members either. Okay, so especially when it's not from Tractor, it's worth checking these out. I know these are all correct though, but if we go into, right, oh, very quickly, it's interesting here as well. So you can see that this is a data set of 179,113 rows and 12 columns. But here, the analysis the Graphext is going to do is only of 60,000 rows. That's just an automated sample, especially if you're using the public version, that'll go straight to 10K. but that's very easy to change. So you can put in the number of rows that you'd like. So you can put in one, or you can choose the percentage. So 100% if you want, 25% if you want, Okay. So once again, we'll go into topics, and this time, although you can execute it, maybe we want to go a little bit more into detail to see what's happening. So if we go edit here, you can see there's data enrichment, data extraction, and automatic insights. Okay, so let's go into data extraction to begin with, so we can see what we're extracting. So which variable contains the texts you want to analyze? Okay, so in this one, we know it's the text column, but maybe it's the user description that you want, and then you choose it there. But for this one, it's the text. Now, you only get no drop-down columns that contain text. And what information would you like to extract from the text in your data set? So you can see extract sentiment here, extract entities, extract emojis. For me, I'm not a big emoji fan. Maybe I want to not extract the emojis. So we can just remove that there. But here we can add it back in if we want to. Okay. So we'll add in extract emojis again, and we can extract hashtags, extract mentions, extract entities. So select how you want to determine the language of the text. So by inferring it from the text, it can read the different languages with the NLP. But you can select a column with the language of the text, or by specifying the language manually for all text. Okay, if you'd like to use an additional model to analyze language, you can choose yes, or you can choose no. Okay. What type of keywords would you like to extract from the text in your data set? It automatically goes to proper nouns, adjectives, and nouns because they're the most common. But you can see you've got auxiliaries, you've got interjections, participles, pronouns, verbs, all of this. Okay, so now if we go to data enrichment, I can show you a little bit more about that. Okay, so you can go here to which column contains date values, equally the same, user created or date. It will only show the ones that are in date, and you can take that. So how would you like to enrich your data? So the most interesting here, infer gender. This one's really interesting. So if you wanted to infer what gender the tweet comes from, this isn't automatically done. The reason it's not automatically done is we understand the fact that maybe there's some names that aren't necessarily masculine, some names that aren't necessarily feminine. So like if you take Joe, could be female, could be male, could be non-binary. So with that, it's your choice if you want to add that in. Okay. You're getting the idea now. So that is how you enrich your data. So you can change all them. And if we go back to topics and just execute, you'll have the project there. And that is how you can analyze from social media. Thank you very much.